let's jump into the Hyperlight sticks. And I know you got a set sitting there. I would love
Yep.
to show what you got.
The biggest thing when we got these is blown away by the weight of them and the stackability and just packability of them. So we didn't want to impact any of that, but also we wanted to enhance those. So one thing you'll notice right away, I'm shaking these around and there's minimal movement, but the best thing about them is I could just flip them upside down and they all stay together without having any like straps or bungee or anything like that. So how that's all working out is these little blocks that go in between. You can kind of see them there and down here. And all it is basically the concept of, I'm going to say Legos. So we have some cool branding and stuff. I don't know if the picture is going to even show that up or not, but got the G3D and the Trophyline logo there. And then even on the sides, we got the Trophyline logo. And then on the inside of that, see if I can take it apart so you can kind of see it. But we got like we call it the stick stack stove system. It's not going to show up probably, but just make it look cool. But all it is basically two pieces that bolt through the bottom of the stick and then receives into that top piece right there, just threads right into it. All it does is basically you take your stack and you can just basically put it together and you squeeze it to pinch them together, and then once they're in there, they're solid. So
you're now listening to the Mobile Venatic podcast. That's a giant. This is Mobile Venatic Podcast, episode 3 of our saddle hunting for beginners, like a guide. We're running through gear, why saddle hunting, and now this final video. Maybe we'll add one more later if we can think about it. Maybe hunting related stuff. Maybe like episode 4. Maybe. Right now it's a 3-part series. This one's going to be about making your saddle hunting system efficient, sleek, fast, making it yours, making it work for how you want it, and aftermarket, shiny stuff, mods, upgrades.
This will be the fun episode. Really.
Yeah, this is the tinkering. I was never a gear guy. I was never a gear guy until I got like Western and saddle hunting, and then all of a sudden I'm like nutty about it. You're by far more of a gear guy than I am, especially like bow hunting related too.
I love tinkering with that stuff. This episode is going to be a little bit different though, because we're going to have 3 separate guests. So we should mention that right off the bat. So you don't have to listen to us the whole time. We've got 3 different guests on here. Great guys, very innovative guys, very creative guys that have come out with a ton of products that are really sweet, that go on top of anything that you buy in the saddle or mobile hunting world. So I would give them at least skip ahead and listen to these guys at the very least, because they are worth the listen.
Yeah, they've got some gear that you're going to want, which we will cover a little bit, and then we'll have them talk about it specifically. Right from the get-go, though, we just ended the last episode, episode 2 of this series, talking about like basic gear, getting the kits. These items now are things that you're going to be looking for that, one purchase could make all the difference and make that whole system sleek, or a couple add-ons could just make that system that you did buy, even if you bought other manufacturers or whatever you end up with, used gear, it could enhance the experience of that gear. Right from the get-go, the first thing I do is silence stuff with hockey tape or stealth strips or whatever it is. Just getting them quiet. 9 times out of 10, like manufacturers aren't going to do that because to each their own. People like different things. And the very next thing, like again, with silencing things and making it work for me is if you want to paint it up and have fun. Like I just wrote
Arts
that
and
down.
crafts.
Arts and crafts. Like, yeah, it's fun. Like I remember like I just spray painted like a heavy base brown and then just took a sponge of like FDE paint and just like blotched it up and it looked.
Some guys like to put like paracord around their entire perimeter of their platform. I tried it. I decided I didn't like it. But I mean, if you do, you do.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the hockey tape specifically because not only is it like slicker and quiet, but I liked actually that stickiness to it. It kind of like reinforces like I wrapped all my double step. It kind of reinforced pulling them apart and knowing that it's going to stay together just a little bit better. So beyond that, like that's some things that you can do without having to purchase anything or whatever, $3 roll of hockey tape off of Amazon. The next is, again, specific gear. We talked about our rewards program and things like that. Like, and because if you do buy a big old kit or whatever it happens to be, you can actually take advantage and use some points to actually purchase this next piece of gear that is, in my opinion, number one on my list for like mods or upgrades to a saddle hunting kit. And first piece of gear that we offer, ascenders, mechanical
Mhm.
ascenders, Ropeman 1 or Ropeman 4, depending on the rope. Ropeman 1 for your 8, no, I'm sorry. Ropeman 1 is your 10 to 13 millimeter for like our 11 millimeter lineman's red rope that comes with the Covert Light and Nimbus and Covert Pro. Um, or Ropeman 4, which actually covers 8 to 13, a wider array, and specifically our tech cores or some of the other smaller ropes from other manufacturers. That's a big one for me. Those are those just make everything cake.
That was the first. That was the first addition I made after getting all my saddle equipment. Was getting an ascender, and specifically, I only got one for climbing the tree when using my lineman's belt because it's when you're getting into trees that are different sizes or start out fat, get skinny, or just got things to work around. It's really handy for people that don't know the mechanical ascenders. It's a quick adjustment on your rope. So if you have your lineman's wrapped around the tree and you're starting to climb and you're getting a little too tight to the tree where you can't lift your leg up, you can take the edge of the ascender without weight on it, lift up on this tab, and you can adjust it back, say 6 inches, 12 inches, whatever you need. And then if you're climbing and you're like, I'm starting to get a little too much slack, you can grab the tag end of your lineman's, or if you're in a tree, your tether, but you can grab that tag end, give it a little pull in the direction it needs to go, and it'll tighten you up closer to the tree. So
Yep.
instead of having a two-hand operation to possibly make you go off balance or anything like that, this is a one-hand operation accessory that is very beneficial.
Yeah, it's just a little piece of metal with some teeth on it that, as he said, you pull that tag in and it lifts the teeth and then it sets it back down immediately. The only thing you don't want to do is, I call it the fun cord. It's got this little thing that you can pull if you have weight on it, which we've both watched video of one of our ambassadors doing it and still trying to shoot a deer after he did it. But
Yeah.
we have knots at the bottom of our ropes for a reason, just for this. But if you pull that fun cord and you do have rope on it, that's how you break it free. Like if you're in an all day sit and it kind of gets more compressed and you're maybe a heavier weight guy, it's kind of to break that loose, but just don't pull that with weight on it. But yeah, dude, that's like a top upgrade for me too, immediately. And if you are just gonna get one, yeah, it's the one that you're climbing up with.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
that
I ended up getting a
transmitter.
second one later in the season for the
Yep.
lineman, which is still beneficial just because if you need to get a weak side shot and you're too tight to the tree and you can't get it
Yep.
over your shoulder or something along those lines, that's beneficial as well.
And if you get the 4, or a Kong duck is also the other way to get it, well, like for a tech core rope. There's gonna be a little bit of room in there. You can hockey tape that carabiner too,
Mhm.
and again make it silent. So always keep thinking about making improvements, which is the theme of this entire episode.
We
Um,
should just call it arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts. I like that. Next one is something that we actually just made improvements to our own website and offerings for, which is knee pads and backband. I'm not personally a fan of a knee pad. I I carry what the plateau pack, or any pack with a waistband. I would consider this before maybe you want to purchase knee pads. Um, you can plug that waistband around. I actually put my pack. I take Once I have my tether up, I take my lineman off my saddle. I put it back on the tree, and because it's an adjustable in height and publicly and legal way to hold a pack, then I put my plateau pack and I buckle the waistband around the tree, and it's thick enough padding on that waistband. Some packs may not have thick enough, but it is actually thick enough to give me relief on my knees. And I am a sitter a lot of times, so
I have
it
noticed
really
that.
helps.
I've noticed that when I film,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I don't typically use knee pads either, because I lean 95% of the time. But
Right.
when I do bring my knees to the tree, I'll just swing a pack around typically. Or if I really have the room to pack everything I want to for an all day set, I will pack a knee pad, but it's just not common, not very
Yep.
common for me.
Um, and then backband. This is especially for all day sits. One of our kits, the Dawn to Dusk we discussed last episode, actually has knee pads and a backband in it, but it can really take the pressure off. You got back problems or bad back, whatever it happens to be, or you're sitting in all day, or just want that extra ounce of comfort. You can have that backband, put it on the small of your back, just beneath your shoulders, and it really instantly relieves the pressure. It also has pull tabs, or all you have to do, like in case you have any concern of it getting in the way with a shot, especially with a bow, pull that tab, it drops to your waist, and then you're able to make a shot like that fast.
I feel like the back bands are really beneficial, obviously for all day sits, but for those of you that struggle with bad posture, always trying to hunch your shoulders and crunching yourself up, having that extra something to mentally lean back into and keeping that good posture will make you more comfortable all day. Because if you have the bad posture, you typically will feel that pain in between your shoulder blades, lower back, or just ache, and this back band just relieves that instantly.
100%, 100%. And we actually just kind of combined those first three that we wanted to talk about into two different kits online. First is the comfort kit. The comfort kit is just the back band and either our knee savers, which is our better priced Mossy Oak original camo, original knee pads for saddle hunting that we created, back band and that, or the choice of our deluxe knee pads, brand new for 2024, a little bit thicker, just in my opinion, a nicer, well built knee pad. So that's again the option in the saddle comfort kit. We also created what's called the saddle upgrade kit. That includes, again, choice of deluxe or standard knee pads, the back band, and choice of two, not just one, two Ropeman ones or Ropeman fours. So if you're in the market to kind of get those first accessories, look at the saddle upgrade kit and saddle comfort kit that we just put online. Might be a couple weeks now when this podcast actually comes out, but very recent new addition to the website. Now it's time to jump into the fun stuff, the shiny stuff, aftermarket stuff, some of the stuff that we don't even sell.
I mean, it's still market stuff, but not on our website.
Not on our specific website. But again, that's where we're bringing in these guests. But before we bring in the guest, top mods like that I wanted to get right out of the gate. Actually, I'll let you go first.
Oh,
yeah, you go first.
Well, that's very kind of you, sir. Thank you. So, on top of the ascenders, after I got the ascenders, the second thing I did was for my sticks, and I love daisy chains. I ran daisy chains. Anything with a Versa button, I switched over to a daisy chain on a stick. I should clarify that, Versa button on a stick. So I was running daisy chains. I got those from the Amsteel guy, which is coming up here real quick. I also got from him his USA Pro, which I like to run on my platform. There's nothing wrong with the cam buckle strap, but I was trying to eliminate metal or any type of metal contact. So this is another Amsteel product that was just meant specifically for attaching my platform to the tree, and that works excellent. And then on top of that, one of the other things that I got early on was I can't remember if I'm calling it right from his website, but it's a tether hanger hook from Genesis 3D Printing, Austin, who's coming up here in a minute. That I think was actually designed for one stickers, but I use it as like how Weston was mentioning, he hangs his pack from his lineman's rope, where I will hang my pack or my bow when I'm getting up and set up on this hook on my tether. So the only downside to doing what I do with it, if you aren't cautious in the fact that you have something hanging on this hook and you take weight off of your tether, it can scare the crap out of you and shift down the tree a little bit. So keep that in mind. But I absolutely love that system. And then I also bought a hip bow hanger from him. That's where I, being a self filmer, hang my bow 95% of the time is right from my hip. So it's hanging off the string. Don't freak out, because I know a lot of people like it's creating torque on the string, and I'm probably going to get flack for it, giving you guys flack for it. But I have had this thing since I've been saddle hunting. So 5 years, 6 years. And I've never had any issue with making things go out of time on my bow, or undoing serving on my string. It's all on how you use equipment. So those are probably the big four things that I purchased accessory wise right off the bat. Other than a couple, like I bought, I think it was a trail camera mount from Innovating the Outdoors, Kyle Skelly. He's coming up here in a little bit. I used that obviously for trail cameras, but I was trying to use that for my 360 camera because the thread fits. And I also bought one of those from Sam as well. So There's a way more stuff in which I almost called you Nick. Weston's going to get into here in a second that he's got some different things, but there is a plethora of options out there to streamline your system to what either you think you need or how you want your system to turn into.
Yeah.
So
No. Mine might be very similar. I know two of mine are. But my top mods, like upgrades to my whole saddle system out of the gate that made the biggest difference in order would be ascenders first, just climbing up the tree, just not dealing with Prusik knots that come basic out of most saddle hunting kits. Number two was, and this is like a big one at events, like similar to your bow holder, but just actual 3D printed material instead of like using the rubber twist ties from Night Eyes or paracord to hold sticks and or platform on your waist.
mhm.
When you have a system that's just like run and gun, like just reach down, up, next stick, next stick, that's a big difference. And that's like one of the, again, when you're at shows, that's what's really cool showing people just how you run that system effectively where they may not have even thought about in their hang on setup or whatever they're running. So ascenders, the saddle stick holder or platform holder on the molly of your saddle, daisy chains, am steel daisy chains, getting away from those cam buckle straps on the doubles. And obviously we run am steel on the new hyperlight sticks. I even
Mhm.
run daisies on the hyperlight sticks. I've actually got 10 footers. And a little side note on the 10 footers. One, I hunt some giant tulip poplar trees and cottonwood trees, and sometimes like the 10-foot daisy, I don't know why it's like not even long enough sometimes, or it's still very hard to get around the tree. But I also can lower the sticks down without having to repack them. Like even at
Yeah.
15 feet, or at least from the bottom three sticks, I can actually lower those down without having to necessarily pack them very quiet, which is really cool. And then aiders. Specifically last year when I was running a single or two sticks and the Wingman platform, which if you don't know, the Wingman platform is our platform with on the stick, but packs with our double steps. I was able to get to 15 feet, and I'm a very small guy with this backwoods mobile gear 3-step aider. We sell AM steel aiders.
Yeah, I
Um,
forgot to mention that one too. I've got
I
one
know
of
you
those.
run
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Um, Aiders are one of those things that can be tricky. But I think it's a big improvement. Like at least for that bottom stick, if you can get that bottom stick for me, like at 7 feet, and I have a 3-step aider, maybe not move that aider. Like just maybe get that first stick, but that's getting you to the point of two sticks from the
Yeah.
get go. So
Yeah.
it's subtracting a stick potentially, or actually getting you to the hunting height that you want, depending on the situation and season. Um,
I will
I
say, let me just interrupt you quick. If you're
Yeah.
going to get aiders, you better practice with them first because you can swing yourself around on that tree accidentally and it's a little nerve wracking. So,
And I did, and that's why I don't go past the first stick often anymore. We were actually in Nodak, and we were both climbing like different trees. I think we're like what 10, 20 yards
I think you
apart.
were coming down, weren't you?
I don't know
Or
if
were
I
you
was
going
going up or going down. Robert just heard a like he just and I had slipped. I was just going fast. I had slipped and was sideways off of the bottom rung of that step. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I had a hold of the stick or if my lineman had caught me and I was just holding on to the aider. But it was I mean, I'm a small guy, it didn't hurt that bad. But man, if I was bigger, it could have hurt a
It
lot
still makes you
worse.
pucker. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was thinking I was on my third. I think I was on my third stick. I was almost at hunting height.
I feel like
So
you were on your way down or something. I can't remember though.
yeah. But we also sell single amstellators. Again, the closer that base is to the top of the stick, the easier it is. So don't think it's that sketchy by any means.
Yeah.
That if you just run one aider on each stick, that's the equivalent of a 4-step aider, like getting that first stick that higher off the ground. So you can multiply your stick length and multiply that weight that you are carrying in with just a basically, and if you don't even understand the concept of aider, it's a rope step.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Good way to put it.
So we have amstellators on our website. But then there's also a lot of aftermarket. Like my personal one is that backwoods mobile. What you want out of an aider is a material to hold it open because when you're coming down in the dark, you it's kind of hard to get your foot in. So you want something that you can easily get your foot in as you're coming back down that holds the actual step open. There's a few options out there that don't hold that step open as well. So, um,
I know we're kind of tailing off here too, but the other thing
yep,
you got to keep in mind with aiders is depending on the stick you have, not even ours, you can have sharp edges. So you have to pay attention to your aiders as the season goes on, just to make sure that there's no fray or anything like that too. So
yeah,
just keep that in mind.
yep. Maybe tape where you kind of are putting those aiders on the stick, no matter what stick you have,
Hmm.
and the surface type or material type. Like it might be a good idea just to tape those just to deter wear and tear on an
Yep.
aider, because again, it is like an aftermarket accessory. It's an add-on. It's
Yep.
not straight from a lot of times the manufacturer. So, I think that covers everything. We can jump straight into our guests now, and these guys are going to talk about. Oh, the last thing was just stick modifications, which Austin and Kyle are going to get to. That are some really awesome bad.
Stick. Well, you're not modifying the stick.
You're not modifying the stick. No, it's just little things that make a
Accessories,
huge difference. Oh
accessories
my
for the
gosh.
stick. Yeah. Other than
Yeah.
just taping it with hockey tape or stealth strips. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yep.
more you can actually do to make your climbing just a lot
I'm
easier.
really excited to get into these guests because they have some. I mean, we just came out with Hyperlight into the market, to the public. It's finally on the market, and these guys like right out of the gate came swinging with some awesome products,
Instantly.
instantly.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
true.
that's
I
really
guess
cool.
I've got more stuff now than what my previous list was from Kyle and Austin and
Yep.
Sam, but I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, we are both. Before we jump, we are both using things from each of them
I mean,
in our setups.
and there's more accessory companies out there as well.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be a little bit different from company to company for the add-ons.
Hmm.
So just kind of, do your exploring, see which fits your needs and go from there.
All right, we're gonna jump into our first guest. Austin, why don't you jump in straight into it? Who you are, what you're doing, what your company, where it kind of started and where it's at now.
So my name is Austin Cantola. I own a company called Genesis 3D Printing. My wife and I run it. We've been doing this since 2020, when COVID hit and everybody got sent home from work, and being an engineer and wanting to design things and work on things without having the ability to be at my day job to do that, just started working on it. So that's kind of how it all started.
That's awesome. There's so many new things and genius ideas and stuff born out of COVID. I think it was like a 30% uptick in hunter numbers, license sales and things like that. Like the whole outdoors experiencing as a whole. Not sure,
Mhm.
don't quote me on that number, but it was really cool to see what's flourished after
Yeah.
that. Um, so where can people find you right now if they're looking it up, they're listening right now? Where can
Yeah. So
people
you
go?
can Yeah, you can find us. Our website is just genesis3dprinting.com. We have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We have all those, and it's just Genesis 3D Printing is our main handles for all those.
Awesome. And when they go to your website, what are they going to find and what should they be paying attention to? We're talking about smoothing your system, speeding it up, making it easy, things that are
Simplifications.
Mhm.
simplification,
Yeah.
something that doesn't cost a whole lot potentially, or just something that they're going to want to grab that can have
Yeah.
massive impact.
Yeah, so I think like the biggest thing that people get when they come to our site is just things to make it easier for them to carry things up the tree when they go in the woods. Packing things up is one thing, but just once you get to a tree, a system to help carry the sticks, the platform, everything up the tree with them is the biggest thing. So we see a lot of new guys getting into mobile hunting, not just saddle hunting, but like tree stand guys, saddle guys, everybody. They're looking for a system to help them carry stuff up the tree. So like our biggest sellers are like, I actually have a saddle on right now to help show these things. But like this
Nice.
little hanger here, is our Versa hanger, which you can
Yep.
put your Versa button on there. Or we have a system that's like our stick mule system, and it is a little button that goes on your sticks. And we have one for pretty much every stick out there, and it just slides in there and hooks on there. So that's kind of our biggest one. And then the other one is on the back here. You can kind of see it's like a little platform hanger. Let's see if I can bring it a little bit closer.
Mhm.
Yep.
This is where your platform would go, and how it works is your platform drops in at an angle and then it slides back down. It doesn't snap in; it just drops in, and it's gravity held in there and doesn't pop out. So then to take it out, you have to twist it up at an angle and pull it out. So that'd be our two products, I would say, are like our if you get into saddle hunting, those are the ones that you'll not think about right away. But once you start climbing and you're like, man, this is really difficult if I don't have a good system. That's probably the two biggest things I can recommend. And then the other thing is, I feel like most people get into saddle hunting. This is actually our number one seller last year, and this year it's number two. It's comfort. People are trying to figure out how to get comfortable because it's new. And so we created we call it the HPE, the hip pinch eliminator. I don't have one with me, but we sell a ton of those. And all it is like you have your bridge for your saddle here, and it pushes. It's a little bar that goes in between your bridge to push it out, so you don't have too much pressure on your hips. So
my cousin has one of those, and he absolutely loves that thing. Even with like a comfortable saddle to start with, it's even like it's just another. I don't know how to describe it. Like a chair is comfortable to sit in, but then you sit in a recliner and it's even better. That's probably the way to describe it.
Yeah.
If you're looking at buying a nice one, just get like a 2x4, cut it down to size, try it, and then buy his because it's way lighter and everything. I mean, if you really want to see what it's like when you have it at the bottom of the tree, I was doing that at home once you brought that out. I was like, oh, that's what I like it, It's so awesome.
The amount of people that try that out and they're like, "Whoa, wait a second, what is this thing?" It's cool.
Yeah. For those listening, you were I don't know what place you are, in bringing these guests, but what he's talking about is a little piece of 3D printed gear that is sliding into the molly, and it looks like it would look like a coat hanger, on the top, right, just poking, and then it's got a hook, just literally like a fish hook, and the other side of that, I actually run one of those on my wingman because I was dealing with some other things and like the pendulum effect of that wingman swinging. I liked yours the best with it would just there's something to say for that 3D printed gear versus just um rope or whatever they're using. Night eyes I was actually using before where it's keeping it in place and not swinging, potentially making unwanted noise. And so like I describe it as an acorn. You're basically putting an acorn in that device on the what was that? What'd you call that specifically?
We call it the Versa hanger.
The Versa hanger, and then the platform hanger essentially does the same thing where it's actually keeping it a little bit more rugged and stationary than just dangling off with am steel, whatever cordage, whatever you're doing. So
you're eliminating the wind chimes effect with things banging into each other. So a lot of our systems are very big on keeping things still and not letting them swing around. They can rotate a little bit, but we don't want them swinging around and hitting things as you climb up the tree.
Absolutely.
I feel like all beginners usually start with some sort of paracord or just a mess of just trying to get up a tree, and then it's a quick realization that there's got to be something better. And then they'll either find you or like Kyle Scally or maybe something Sam offers too. I don't know, but there's a lot of great options out there. And the 3D printed stuff is mint, in my opinion. It's minimalistic, but it streamlines everything you need.
And what we're talking about too, we were talking about with Kyle was like, you guys can go down or, obviously you have a new building, right? So you can go and customize and you can like solve a problem so fast. I mean, we're about to show something here that you mocked up pretty quickly. I mean, very quickly, actually. I mean, within what, a couple days, week, maybe?
Yeah, I think so it's the sticks and I got those, I was trying to get them sooner because I was trying to work with Rob to get my hands on them. But I think I got them on Tuesday, I think. Wow. And so then I think it was like 3 days later, I had a pretty polished part, and then been testing it to verify that it works, obviously, is the biggest thing. So yeah, it takes a matter of days or maybe even weeks. Whereas if you're going to do an injection molding tool or anything like that, it's like months or years sometimes.
I think that's the coolest part. I mean, we all know that this is a gear centric, market and headspace for a lot of these guys too. And it's really cool to mess with things, but to be able to have the ability to just think of something or, I think it's really cool because in this niche, like you see a comment and you're going to focus on that and make something custom, or like you are very precise with paying attention to potential needs that obviously some other company, I mean, bigger manufacturers, ourselves included, might just overlook that guy that has this really neat idea. So I think that's really, really neat. Well, let's jump into, I want to definitely talk about some of your other products that me and Bobby are using too. really cool, really cool. I'm a big believer in it with the self filming. But let's jump into the hyperlight sticks. And I know you got a set sitting there. I would
Yep.
love to
Have
show
this
what you got.
beautiful set right here. So this is the set that yeah, I just got maybe a week ago. I haven't even released any of these products on our site. So people are going to see them for the first time here, maybe potentially.
No,
Um,
this will probably post well after you get it up on the site, would be
oh,
my
perfect.
guess.
Yeah.
So this won't be a surprise to anybody.
No.
So the biggest thing when we got these is blown away by the weight of them and the stackability and just packability of them. So we didn't want to impact any of that, but also we wanted to enhance those. So one thing you'll notice right away, I'm shaking these around and there's minimal movement, but the best thing about them is I could just flip them upside down and they all stay together without having any like straps or bungee or anything like that. So how that's all working out is these little blocks that go in between. You can kind of see them there and down here. And all it is basically the concept of, I'm going to say Legos. And it's funny because how I became an engineer is because I love playing with Legos.
That's really cool.
So we have some cool branding and stuff. I don't know if the picture is going to even show that up or not, but
Oh,
we
yeah.
got the G3D and the Trophyline logo there. And then even on the sides, we got the Trophyline logo. And then on the inside of that, let's see if I can take it apart so you can kind of see it. But we got like we call it the stick stack stove system. It's not going to show up probably, but yeah, just make it look cool. But all it is basically two pieces that bolt through the bottom of the stick and then receives into that top piece right there, just threads right into it. And yeah, all it does is basically you take your stack and you can just basically put it together and you squeeze it to pinch them together. And then once they're in there, they're solid. So yeah, the biggest thing is there was some tolerances I noticed with how they stack, because when you machine them, you can't have them tight because stack up tolerances are going to make these things impossible to get them to stack together if you get too tight of tolerances. So
Yeah, and we got to leave a little room in there too to like silence, stealth strips or hockey tape or whatever. Everybody likes to kind of mess with their gear and quiet them down. I'm loving the way these look. I've not had my hands on them. I think you have, right, Bobby? No? Oh, you haven't seen them either.
No.
I can't wait to get a hold of that. Honestly, it's really cool.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted there for a second. I had kids out in the barn, but no, I don't have my hands on them yet.
Yeah.
Nobody has them yet, so we're hoping to get them onto your guys' hands here soon.
Do you have a price in mind yet?
So I don't have a price figured out, because the tricky thing is I need to sell a set of these for a pack of 4 sticks. So there's a lot of pieces that go into this. So I'm still trying to figure out the pricing. And when we do pricing, it's not just the material cost, it's like the time it takes to build these parts. So it does impact our production on other products. So we have to keep that factor in mind. So I'm still working on that pricing on that, but hopefully very soon, trying to keep it minimal. So guys that are looking at doing this doesn't impact their wallets, because this year is just wild. The cost of living and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
It is definitely wild. But again, something like that. I mean, that's and I wanted you to also point out the other piece of gear you had on there. These sticks are really cool because obviously the weight. I mean, you're able to easily stack all those sticks on one side. I mean, it's not very much weight. 4 pounds, or technically your first one goes on the tree, so 3. Can you show that off as well? Just so
yeah. So like this is your pack of 4 sticks. What I would do when I get to the tree is I would take my bottom stick off of the stack, and then I would hang this stick. Sometimes you can get your second stick hung, but just saying, if you don't, the thing that we designed also is that Versa hanger concept. We have this stick mule system that's bolted onto here, so it's fixed on there, and you'd only need it for 1 stick. So the nice thing is you can basically, when you're going to climb a tree, you would take the Versa hanger, you would slide this into the Versa hanger, and it would drop down and hang there on your side. I'll actually turn this so people can see it a little bit better. But it'd sit there, and all you do is just pull them off one at a time, like a quiver concept. And so then you just hang them. You just pop this one off, and then you're done. And then this last one, all you do is just pull it out of the Versa hanger. So the thing that's nice about this Versa hanger concept is if you're climbing and you hit a tree or a twig or something that pops it up, it won't come out like that unless you pull it up and then it comes out. It's a 2 motion action. It has to go up and then over. So it's a really simple concept, but it actually works really, really well for keeping sticks solid in there. So when I'm done with my hunt, I would just hang them like this, and then as I climb down, I take the stick off the tree, and all you do is just reach, like look down, set them together like that. You can even pivot them up and then just squeeze them together, and then they're together just like that. So that's the nice thing is you're just as you come down the tree, you're packing your sticks up as you go, just like that. And then my last one just go like that. So then it's nice because you take this off and then you don't have to do anything at the bottom of the tree to really pack up your sticks at all. You're just put them on your backpack or carry them out. Like I'll even just walk with them, just holding the am steel just like that. And it's a super simple system.
I like that a lot.
I'm in love with that. Yeah, that's I mean, there's nothing there. I mean, to a point, once you get to that 4 stick, you're right. Like I'm just slapping down on the bottom of my plateau pack and I'm running. That's
Hmm.
unbelievable. I like that a lot. And I
Yeah.
run, is that I think that's the same the receiver there on your saddle. I think that's the
Yeah.
same one I'm running. And I will test like again, I ran the wingman upside down and that thing is just pendulum and it's not coming out. I've never had it
Mhm.
come out on me. So that's weird weight. I mean, obviously heavier weight, but that's really, really
Yeah.
nice. I love that.
Yeah. Yep.
Very
And
cool.
the reason why these sticks work well with this system, even the stacking system, is if they were heavier, say 2 pounds a stick, I couldn't get this tension here to hold these all together. Since these are a lightweight stick, we're able to get away with this concept for this design. And even for this hanger, when you hang them all off your side, you're able to not have a huge weight on your right side or left side with all the sticks there, which you'll see that with like different sticks that other companies make is
Mhm.
you can't make an effective product that holds all the sticks on one side, but with this system, with these sticks, you can do that now.
Yeah.
That's forgive me, that so this Lego concept, do you have this on any other products right now?
I don't. This is only on the Trophyline Hyperlight stick, so this is the first time I've done it. And I've thought about it in the past, but the hard part is it works really well with sticks that stack in line with each other. But you guys generously gave me enough cutout here to make this design work.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where it's like you
I mean,
guys said,
everything I didn't even think about it before, but when I look at that stick now, I can think all I think of is Lego for some reason. Like it's just the whole everything's square. You got the round. Like it's
"Mhm,
just it makes a lot of sense. I'm
yeah,
loving that. This
yeah."
is the
When I
coolest thing with like we're talking about like we asked each of Kyle and Sam, and we'll ask you like, do you think right now, and you're part of it, right? It is the golden age of saddle hunting and mobile hunting. Like, do you think we're in the golden age, and where does it go from here?
so I think like we're at the golden age from a consumer standpoint. Like you have anything and everything that you could ever want right now. I think that it's only going to get even better for them. I think we're on the manufacturing side. It's going to be interesting to see how companies choose to do and go which direction with it. It gets more difficult now because we've all come out with some really innovative stuff. And so it's like, okay, what else is there? Do you recreate the wheel in a sense?
Yeah.
It gets more challenging, but for me, it gets more exciting because like my brain's always thinking of different new things that aren't out there already. So like I'm excited because like I think it's going to show like the true companies that innovate,
Mhm.
and it's
Yep.
going to be like, oh wow, man, they're still doing stuff that I haven't seen before. Whereas this company is just doing the same thing that other companies are doing, or even that they've already been doing.
Yeah,
So,
we talked about that last man standing. It's going to be interesting to see, because I mean, like every 15 to 30 days, it's a new launch or there's new like I mean, lately it's been a lot of new technology too, which is really cool and a lot of
mhm,
really I wouldn't say crazy out there ideas, but I mean, there's been some pretty big shifts.
mhm,
And I mean, you got like even what you're holding right now, just brand new materials, right? Going kind of different, but it's cool because they're all going for the same thing. Obviously the lightweight, but simplicity and a product like this that pairs with something that's already pretty dialed in and makes I don't know how much I don't know how more dialed in you can get that right
yeah,
there. I mean, that's as simple as you can go.
mhm,
Um, and 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 this we talked about too, like this is we're now into that 1 pound category, right? Of
Mhm.
stick. There's several out there right now, but like that 1 pound category of stick, we're there now, and it's you can hang it all off on one side, and your weight savings from more traditional saddle hunting gear is almost 50% when you get into this side of it. Like you
Mhm.
mentioned, a 1.8 or 2 pound stick, you're literally subtracting 50% off of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, where do we go from here? I'm not sure.
It's gonna
Anti-gravity boots.
That's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
Levitation, something, you know.
It would be sweet.
It
I
would
don't know. I don't know. I mean,
it's
might
gonna
put a
get yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
gonna get interesting with what different companies' approaches will be to it. Will they try to keep continuing to push the boundaries, or are they gonna get a little creative with different ways to do climbing a tree or
Mhm.
Mhm.
sitting on a platform or saddle hunting in general? Like, I mean, I think that's going to be the most interesting, eye-popping thing is what are companies going to do that are outside the box? And it's scary because like some companies, you're like, okay, did you verify that that's safe to do that? Um, and
Right.
then the other side of it is like you gotta like that's the hardest part about running a company is you may have the best idea in the world, but if you don't show people how it, how to use it or actually show them a good detailed video of it, you may not sell anything. And it's like that could have been the best thing in the world, but nobody knows it.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the whole tree saddle thing. I mean, it was born in an age where there was no media, there wasn't easy way to show it. You had to be in person to show it, and it
Mhm.
didn't even obviously it couldn't even take off without YouTube. It couldn't even take off with this media and learning because it was such a difficult product, such a big change.
Yeah,
We are there now, so any big idea can be easily accepted. Not easily accepted. People people
understood.
like their old ways, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Before we end this, I know you talked about the little gear, like around your saddle but you have some other options out there too. Particularly the sub one camera arm. Like I'm using it right now. I think Bobby, you picked one up or you were looking at one.
Mhm.
Um, and you have some other things. So if you want to point those out right now, some other upgrades that people might want to look at if they're on their site getting this new system for Hyperlight or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So actually this Friday, so it'll be before the episode drops for this. It is the August 23rd. We're gonna be dropping our new sub one camera. So super excited about that. We dropped the sub one camera arm 2 years ago. And it was awesome. Guys just understood what we were trying to hit with that. We're trying to hit something that was under a pound that you could film with and it could handle pretty much anything you could throw at it. This new version is and I think Bobby has one of those. And so
Mhm.
he's playing around with it right now. Gives you the option to run a two pivoting arm or three pivoting arm, depending on if you're saddle hunter or tree stand guy. But that two pivoting arm can handle up to 10 pounds without a significant amount of bounce. It the three arm one is more geared towards like that 5 pound range, but that's really kind of pushing the limit. And it's more geared towards guys that are going to film with like a phone or a handy cam kind of thing.
Mhm.
But it's super packable. And the best part about it is you don't need to use an OCB strap anymore if you don't want to. It comes with a specific webbing that has a T hook sewn into it and it threads into a cam buckle strap or into a cam buckle. And it's on a 3/4 inch webbing. So then you can just cinch it tight on the tree. But where it comes and shines is it has to have this pivoting lever on the bottom of it to get that tension out of the strap or slack out of the strap and put some tension in there. So it's really cool what we were able to do with that Gen 2 version of that. All the fasteners are custom fasteners. They're black oxide stainless steel fasteners. So they're not going to be any shiny things on them. And whatnot. It's more streamlined. There's some branding on there, so it makes it look a little cooler. Um, and yeah, I'm really excited about that one. So that's probably a big one that I'm excited to release to everybody.
I gotta make that switch because I've got the old one, and at first the strap was giving me a little trouble. I just hadn't ran that, and then but the packability of it is unparalleled. I love it. I'm
Mhm.
running a little Sony 6300, you know, um, DSLR, and it's you know, it it's perfect for that.
Yeah.
So I got to get me a one of those. I can't wait to take a look at it.
Dude, it's
Yes.
nice.
Go ahead, Bobby.
I was just gonna say the little I've played with it right now, like it's held up my 70 to 200 on the R6, and I was telling you, Austin, if you completely extend it out, then you might have a little bit of torque to it, but you're never gonna run it that way with that heavy of a setup as it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that lens is 5 pounds by itself.
Yeah, that might be putting that XL. So
Yeah.
no, and to be honest with you, I never struggle with the OCD buckles, but there's been a lot of people that said I can't get this figured out, or they struggle with it. And I'm like, man, I'm out. I can't just accept that these people are not happy with the product that we came up with. So
I'm glad you
that's
sent me one of them because they are nice. I like it a lot.
good. I'm
Well, you know
happy.
where to send it if you don't use it because your cameras are too heavy. So I'll be the first. I'll be the repurchaser on that one. So, and I know you have some other stuff too, right? So you've got like what? Okay, they got their system dialed in, but now they're up the tree. There's some other things.
Yeah, our biggest one that we sell a ton of, and actually my uncle, who's a teacher, does all the printing for us for these. I actually set him up to print, and all he does is print and assemble, and it's our gear hanger systems. So being a teacher, he just has the ability to work during the summer, not work during the summer, but he needs to make some money, and so we use that as an avenue for him. But our gear hangers, we have two different versions. We have a strap version that's a 3/4 inch strap that goes around the tree. We have one it's a G hook currently. Our next version is going to be similar to like our camera arm, where it threads into the cam buckle and then you cinch it tight. And the nice thing about that is it has a pivoting bow hanger on it and 3 hooks that nest right into the back, so it fits in the palm of your hand, and you get complete packability with it, and it fits in your dump pouch. You almost forget that it's even there. I think it weighs like 4 ounces, if that. But that it's funny though, because like we came out with a new gear hanger system last year, and it was a accessory cord with a roller cam for it, and it just clips into the loop on the accessory cord, and you cinch it tight. It's almost like paracord, but it has a cord to it, so it's stiffer. Guys have loved that. When we were at the Mobile Hunter Expo in Kalamazoo in Michigan here this year, we actually sold out of those, and my wife actually ran home to go get more of those because the amount of people that saw them and were like, "Yep, I get this. This makes perfect sense."
That's awesome.
So
That's really cool. I do not have my hands on that. I don't think I've ever put my hands on that, so I got to check that out as well.
mhm.
At the
Yeah.
event, it was a little overwhelming, just like you had so many different variations of things, the whole wall. It was really, really cool, but I was like,
Yeah.
I would love to check out everything. So
Mhm. Yeah, so
awesome.
that's the cool thing about events is we get to show everything, and we get to say, what sticks are you running? What platform are you running? All these things. Like we have to ask them questions, and we can basically tell them this is what you need. Here's this, here's that kind of stuff. And like, I mean, like one of our products that we don't sell a ton at the show, but once we show people, we sell a ton of them, is like our hip bow hangers, which I think Bobby, you run one of those. It literally slides in the saddle, your mile, your saddle, and guys will just run their bow there and not even use a bow hanger on the tree. They just set their bow there and leave it there, especially for self filming. Like your hands are able to be not having to reach forward off the tree. Your bow is right there. So when you have a deer that you're filming and you need to grab your bow, it's easy, like super easy, and little movement is necessary for that.
I love that thing.
It's so cool because that one in particular, like when me and Bobby were together, is NWTF this year was one of those in those times. You got a guy in a saddle, and sometimes they might have Bobby's on, and they're like, it's setting in. Like, oh, this is comfortable. Like, here's the system. This is really cool. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, so you see those things around your hip? Like, it's like that's for this, and they're like, and it's just like that other moment where it blows their mind. Like, oh wow, that is super slick. I didn't even think about putting a bow off my butt like that. It's really cool. So
Saddle
awesome.
hunting is kind of like when you get all the accessories put on. I feel like it's like a tactical item, what I mean? Or like even like a bino harness. When people start adding all these tactical items to that bino harness, that's a lot what like saddle hunting is. It's just everything's on you, ready to go at all times.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the go kit. I mean, once you find a good pack and then you got everything, it's like the fact that you're doing it over and over and over again. I mean, it's just you're so fast, you're so efficient at that point, and that's what this episode's about, efficiency. So,
Yeah.
Austin, anything else you want to say before we cut you loose?
Not much. I mean, I can't remember how many products we have. We have probably like 50, 60 products now that are unique. So we could spend hours talking about them.
Yep.
So I won't bore everybody with all that stuff.
Go to
No, I
the
think-
website though. Check out all that stuff. He's got great stuff.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Austin.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Hey everybody, Sam the Amstel guy here. Pretty much what I do is all aftermarket accessories, stick attachments, aiders, bow hangers, getting into a little bit more of that aspect of things, but pretty much anything accessory wise you guys might need.
Yeah, not just stick hangers either. Like you do the platforms and even like stuff for tree stands as well too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So any type of or attachment method you might want to replace your cam buckles with, our ultimate stick attachment is our big one, daisy chains, rope mods, all that stuff.
Yeah. I think the first thing I ever got from you, I don't know if I bought it directly from you or I bought it from my buddy Derek, but those daisy chains, I still have them. They still work great.
Yeah.
Same for me. Yeah, I bought some big ones from you. I think they were the 8-footers, maybe.
Yeah, that was 3 years ago, and you were like, "What do you use?"
Yeah, the 3 years ago, but it still wasn't long enough for some Kentucky cottonwood trees that I was hunting. I was combining both of them. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, talking some big difference makers. Sam? What are your just from the guys listening? Like, what are your top sellers? What do you see moving the most, kind of in general for them to look at on your website?
Yeah, our USA, our ultimate stick attachment, that's kind of what really put me on the map. That's basically a tether for your stick and your platform and your stands. That's what, when I came up with that idea, I quit my job to do this full time. I believe in it that much. So, and that we still sell it to this day with some minor modifications we've made. So that's, I'd say over half of our sales have at least a USA in it. We're seeing a lot of pocket pull-up ropes going out now.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of the new bow hangers, because we have a couple of really cool ideas. I haven't really ventured too much into 3D printing, but I've worked a little bit with Kyle Skelly, and we've come up with some really cool ideas with the Mastodon bow hanger. We've seen a lot of those going out lately for the public land legal swivel bow hangers. And then a lot of aiders. We sell a lot of aiders, so we do webbing and AM steel aiders.
That's true. I mean, for people that don't know or listening, do you know? I mean, you want to explain the aiders just as like?
1 second, let me grab them. So this is my personal stick, and with aiders, you can easily go from taking 4 or 5 sticks out in the tree to taking this is a webbing aider. They just combine at the bottom of your stick, and this has 15-inch step spacing. It's a triple, so I go out with 2 sticks, and I can get 7.5 to 8.5 feet per stick. So for a lightweight option that you can throw on the bottom of your stick and get extra height, like I'll show you again, but I mean, this is a triple. There's your double step and there's your triple.
Yeah, for those of them listening, he's holding up a 3-step aider on the bottom of a stick. So I mean, that's I use a movable one, and I love. I mean, I drop, especially with the old system, our heavier sticks, the double step.
The
new hyperlights. I mean, they'll just subtracting an entire stick, or actually 2. I mean, I ran one in the wingman, and I love it. And I'm a small guy, so if I can get my first stick up with that, with what you just held up, I mean, Sam, I think you're tall, if I remember.
He is.
Yes. Yeah. I'm shorter than everybody, so it's hard for me to remember. I just know everybody's taller. I can only get like 7 feet from my top. You're probably pushing 8 something. So I mean,
8.5 to 9 foot generally for my first. I only run 2 sticks, so there's a couple of videos out there of me putting up the first stick at the shows and whatnot and showing people, but it's a great option if people are just getting new into it. I know that us with Trophyline, we partner with you guys, and we sell just single step aiders for your sticks too, and those are an easy way to go. You get 4 sticks. And with the sticks nowadays, it's hard to really get up high. So you might get 12, 14 foot with 4 sticks, and you can easily, with throwing on those 17-inch aiders, you can get another 4 or 5 foot up in the tree.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, like, I like Amsteel aiders because they're a little more compact and light, but I feel a lot more stable with a webbing aider.
Yeah.
So
I haven't.
Go ahead.
I was like to say I haven't really messed too much with those Amsteel aiders beyond just because I've just kind of, I mean, 3-step, I like only running on that bottom stack because it gets a little squirrely. I've only ever fell out once. It was no deck, and Bobby was with me, and it was funny.
I didn't even see it. All of us, I just heard something in the tree.
You just heard a shh. I didn't
Yeah.
fall. I just it hurt. I caught myself.
Aiders are the trickiest part about what I do. It's definitely something that you don't want to order, October, November time from just go out in the woods. You want to be practicing with them.
For sure.
Don't practice with shoes on, wear your boots, dig your toe into the tree. Simple stuff like that is great tips. I've never had any issues, but definitely webbing, it weighs a little bit more, but you got to think if we're using 1/8" AM steel and then you put a 1/4" piece of tubing on the outside and then versus 1" webbing, you have 4 times the surface area with 1" webbing. So it's a lot more surface area on your foot. It's a lot easier to climb. So we've been pushing a lot of webbing aiders out lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both great options. AM steel is obviously a little bit lighter, easier to pack, but the webbing aiders they're so easy to climb.
Yeah. Yep. And now I've messed. Go ahead, Robert.
I was just going to ask you, like, what point in your hunting did you decide you were going to start doing this stuff, that you were going to start making the AM steel or any type of accessory stuff? Like, what got you to that point? Were you frustrated with like lack of stuff? Because that's kind of how I seemed like it was. There was a lack of stuff.
My story about getting into AM steel, it's a funny one, but I was still living at my parents' house and I bought my first saddle. And I saw a video just searching how to get things lighter and whatnot, and found actually a hammock video where someone was using a daisy chain. And I bought just 100 feet AM steel, and me and my dad made up some daisy chains. And I said, I think I'm going to sell these. And he told me I was stupid, and then it took off from there. So I started off with daisy chains and rope mods, and then came out with a couple of aider ideas, and just blew
snowball.
Up.
Doesn't your dad work for you now?
No, he goes to some shows with me. My dad works at a chemical plant, but I have 8 employees. He usually, not really anymore, but he used to be like kind of the guy. Everyone thought he was the Amsterdam guy at the shows because he's a little bit older, but he used to do all the shows with me. Now I have a couple guys that do that for me, but my grandpa works for me. My mom works for me. And then I have 6 other people that work for me that aren't in my family. So
that's right. That's right.
So did you run the business out of your dad's like garage or basement for a long time or a little bit of time?
No, I moved out shortly. Me and my wife were just getting ready to get married and bought a house. We were just waiting to move into the house kind of when I was there. And we moved into our house, and she was still in nursing school. So I just kind of needed a way to make a little bit extra money while I was working, and just started making it, and didn't plan on doing it really after she graduated nursing school. Just wanted to get that last couple of months done, and just kind of took off and decided to keep running with it.
That's
cool.
awesome.
That is awesome. I mean, I've been playing with now several of your products, right? Just with coming out with Hyperlight and different things. So, but me and Bobby always go back and forth, and I was really I was set on those daisy chains. I just love how it's there, it's locked. I mean, yeah, you can't get them as tight potentially as these now, and I mean, these are major improvements for me. But let's talk a little bit about Hyperlight specifically. We just brought these out, and you cannot bring a product like that out without complementing it with the right rope. You can't just put a cam buckle strap on this thing. So if you want to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah. So Sean and Nick reached out to me. Actually, I think Rob kind of put us in connection. But Sean and Rob had them contact me, and we kind of went back and forth, and it was just kind of felt like it was meant to be. I worked with a couple smaller companies on doing small things, and they started throwing some ideas out there, and we decided to make a couple prototypes to the USA. And it's really nice having Rob, somewhat close. He's about 25 minutes from us, so we can bounce ideas back and forth. And he kind of knows more. He has the products in hand, and we can touch base with Trophyline. Nick and Sean are in Pennsylvania, so it's a little bit further away. We were able to really button everything up and get it done pretty quick. And I mean, at the snap of a finger, we went from just coming up with a couple ideas, and then we were just all of a sudden running with it and making, now we're doing the bridges, the USAs, aiders, and we have a couple products that actually haven't been released yet that I think they're getting ready to launch here in the next couple of weeks that people haven't seen yet that we're working on. So it's
very cool.
It was just a great opportunity and a privilege because all you guys are great guys, and I think it's a great system. A lot of people are going to the tie-off method, but I think with the USA, it works so well. You don't really need the tie-off method.
No, it really does. I mean, honestly, like I was a major daisy chain fan, and you can use daisy chains with these new Hyperlight sticks. We've tried it, but like I have grown to love these so much. They're just so simple, and especially not even just sometimes like when you're using those daisy chains and you set that stick so tight because you got to twist the stick in there or whatever, you can barely get it unset. With these, it's just a lot easier to just kind of wedge your thumb in there to loosen it up. And then you can get your stick off as you're climbing down and line it up in place. Yep. These are, I can see why these are one of your best sellers.
And I mean, it's easy to market too, right? I mean, it's something familiar because of, like you said, tethers and everything else. I mean, it's they understand it. It's just simple hitches and they're running with it. So
and
that's
the big
why I
thing
think
for people to understand with the USA is it's not a traditional proof stick on the friction hitch. If you try using a proof stick and how it really binds up, a Schwabish hitch, which is what we use on all of our AM steel attachment methods that use a friction hitch, it's basically a 7 wrap instead of a 6 wrap. And you load 5 loops on one side and 2 on the other. So that way the 2 loop side is like the proof stick and it bites. But then the 5 wrap on the other side is what makes it so you can tighten and loosen it so easily. And it bites just as good as a proof stick, but if you can take 2 fingers and loosen that thing all day. Before, like on our old first generation USAs, we were doing proof sticks. And that was the biggest complaint, is trying to figure out a way to make it so it wasn't biting so hard. And when we came up with the Schwabish hitch was obviously already out there, but we came up with a way to make it work with the AM steel. It was the whole difference that we needed. And just makes it so easy.
And the Schwabish too, if I'm right on this, that's on this. So it's on the stick. I'm not sure how this records, but this is what you can see is the Schwabish. This is also on the bridges too, correct? But instead of a continuous loop, that's an eye to eye, but still made into a Schwabish. Yeah. And it's really easy to adjust on the bridge too. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We did the same friction hitch. We just did an eye to eye for technical reasons on that one. But that one is a 6 wrap Schwabish instead of a 7 wrap, but it has the same concept. That one's just as easy to adjust. It's a full berry because it's a little bit more forgiving with the life expectancy and the weight ratings for carrying a person in a saddle. So that one's really slick too. So we do the same thing on the bridges.
Nice.
Awesome. What, go ahead. Did you have something?
No. I'm sure I do. I have tons of things, but nothing pertaining to this.
Yeah, no, I mean, if, someone, let's just put someone in this scenario. They just specifically from us, right? They picked up one of these beginning level saddle kits, right? They got one of our kits. Let's say they're coming away with doubles. They obviously didn't get the Hyperlight with the AM steel. What would you recommend specifically from you be their first upgrade or biggest upgrades? Maybe not, they're not even coming from you specifically, but what are some of the biggest upgrades in your opinion that someone can make that makes their system that much easier?
Like you guys both said, you like daisy chains. I know we're releasing some daisy chains together here in the next couple of weeks that you can buy. So if you buy the cheaper sticks, you can get, I'm pretty sure our daisy chains with you guys are going to be right around the $20 price range. So it'll be a great quick option so that we don't have to pay double shipping. You can get them right from Trophyline and add them right there and be done. So that'll be a great option right there that you can get right from Trophyline and then still kind of support us in a way too. Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to go and support us directly, we have anything that you could want. Everything that we have for attachment methods that we sell is American made. So we have our American made AM steel line, which AM steel is a specific kind of rope. It's the strongest synthetic fiber in the world. And it has a special coating on it. And we have anything you could want, your USA's, daisy chains, rope mods, any kind of attachment that you want. But it can add up. I mean, if you're doing a budget setup, those add up. Where if you go on our website, we have our clearance corner, and it's not a clearance product, but we have a Dyneema rope mod, and it works so easily. But Dyneema just doesn't have that coating on it. It's still a synthetic fiber. It's very similarly weight rated. It's just not AM steel, and we can offer those instead of you paying $20 for an attachment method. We're offering those for $10. So you can get an 8-foot attachment method that's no metal, weighs, an 1/8 of a weight of a cam buckle, and you can have that for $10. Mm-hmm. So if you're on a budget, that's a great option we have out there. And still, our guys are making them and supporting an American made company. It's still American made rope. It's just another option out there that you can get. And then, we still have all of our aiders that you can, lose a stick, lose 2 sticks. And climb easier. But the biggest thing is just get your stuff early in practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
With AM steel, you're taking the big thing with cam buckles, you have an inch strap. That's a lot of surface area on the tree. When you take AM steel, you're losing that surface area, and you want to make sure you're comfortable with your system and you are comfortable in the dark doing it. I'm not saying it's not safe. You just want to make sure you practice with it because everyone knows I use a cam buckle. It's easy. Mm-hmm. So if you're trying to cut the metal out and cut the weight down, just go out and practice.
Mhm.
All of it's the same. You know, you can go to, there's multiple other AM steel manufacturers that do a lot of similar products, and they all make great stuff. It's just whatever you decide you want to use, you know, and fits your system.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I think all of us have preached, even when we were talking to Kyle the other day too. Like, get out there and get used to your system and become confident with it. And it doesn't take, some people it takes longer to get comfortable with certain things, but like in general, like 5 minutes of practice with trying to understand how to set a stick on a certain type of tree or this and that, it doesn't take long, builds that confidence up, and then you have nothing to worry about as far as in the dark, you know, struggle busting your way through things. But practice. Just
I mean, and it comes down to, like, you know, specifically with Kyle and some of these other guys we're bringing on, it's like, you know, the simplest little thing can make all the difference. We
Yeah.
always kind of, everything boils down to the details. But like you said, Sam, like when you're practicing, you're going to try 6 different ways to wrap whatever stick you have or whatever you end up with, or how to pack it, or especially how to put it on your saddle as you're going up the tree. And, you know, I think you're right. Like, I would say the first for me was the obviously switch to Amstel daisy chain. It's going to lighten your load. Then the very next purchase, actually at the same show, was the Aider.
Yeah.
and then it was actually, it was at the same show. Yeah, man, I went
You
pretty
did.
deep on that
You went
show.
crazy
Yeah.
at that show.
Yeah, it was a gear hanger, you know, public land wise. So it was, but those were the biggest difference makers. So
And the great part about what we're saying too is if you're practicing, go out, you know, half an hour before dark. You can practice shooting from your saddle, climbing in like a low light scenario, shooting out of your saddle, because it's different shooting out of your saddle too. It's not the same as shooting out of a tree stand. You're getting that practice climbing, you're climbing down, you're, you know, bending at the waist. It's a great thing, you know, 2-3 nights a week to go out late light. And I mean, if anyone follows Rob, he's shooting on Instagram all the time. So I mean, he might not be climbing the tree all the time, but he's at least shooting all the time. So
he's not working.
It's my lunch break. Lunch break.
So, you know, that's a great point, because, like, you know, everybody's guilty of it. You know, it's like, okay, last light, you didn't see anything. You really don't know what's out there either. You know, some stuff starting to rummage around. Like, practice being quiet on the way down too. Just don't be dropping the sticks kind of lazy. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I mean, probably 3 out of 4 hunts, I'm probably dropping sticks like that. So it's you practice that, practice the safety, especially shooting 100%. Yeah, is there any other last minute tips that you'd want to offer, or products or updates?
Like I said, my biggest thing is just get a system. The whole thing about saddling is being efficient, having a system you do the same way every time, like little trinkets that can make things easier. That's what all of us accessory guys are here for. Make it quieter, lighter, simpler, easier to climb, to add on to your main system. So just make sure you have something you like. I mean, most of us, you know, between Kyle, me, and everyone else, that we offer things that are cheap. You're not spending $200 on one of our products. You're spending, you know, most of the time, I think almost all my products minus 3 of them are under $30.
Yeah.
So
careful with the word cheap. Like, it's not a cheaply made item.
No, it's easily affordable.
Yeah.
Affordable.
It's an accessory item. So you can take it for a low cost and you can make your system easier and more functional to use, and just get that system. I've had the same system. I might change the sticks up here and there, but I climb with the same fanny pack every time and the same backpack, and pack my pack the same every time. So that way I don't have to worry about the next hunt. So a saddle is just a tool and it's supposed to be efficient. That's my biggest thing I try telling people, and just practice. Don't wait until October, November and try to order something and then go out in the woods, because it can cost you a hunt.
Yeah.
No, it definitely can. And I got to ask, just because this was a topic, you know, that we brought up in this series, where do you think saddle hunting, mobile hunting go from here? Do you think this is the golden era right now with like the technology coming out? I mean, and let me context that, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, it was kind of rough getting some stuff here and there, and there's only a couple companies, and there wasn't that many options. Today, every 30 days, there's a brand new technology, new launch, whatever. It's exciting. It's awesome. It's extremely competitive. But what say you on golden era of mobile hunting?
I get surprised every time. So I'm very fortunate. I get to work with great companies. I work with you guys and Tree Sticks and Hunt Arsenal, and there's many more other companies I'm starting to work with too. But it's just amazing to me the stuff that people can come out with, like beyond, like, I'm just doing ropes. I have cool ideas. Like, I got my mobile ground seat that I love. that, saddle hunting is just a part. I mean, it's all about being mobile, but it's just crazy what people are coming out with still. And I think I still think that it's great. And I find it awesome that people are still coming out with cool products.
The technology and the ingenuity has just exploded in the mobile hunting industry is really what it's done. And it's good for everybody. It's good for everybody.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, that rounds us out. Perfect timing. So thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. This is not going to be the last time you're on, I'm sure. So, who knows what we come out 30 days from now and have you back on for a new product update or whatever.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Appreciate it. And where can guys find you? Make sure we point out your .com.
Yeah, the amsteelguy.com or Facebook, Instagram, just search the Amsteel Guy. Any questions, my phone number's on there. Give me a call, text, email, whatever you guys need. I'm here.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Sam.
All right. I'm Kyle Skilly, the owner of Innovating the Outdoors. We've been in business now for just about 4 years. Coming up next month will be 4 years. So we started out basically when me and all my buddies started saddle hunt, or actually mobile hunting, because we all just kind of run and gun from old lone wolf setups when we started out. And that's kind of what snowballed into the business. There was like basically a huge hole in the market because there wasn't a huge crowd and a lot of manufacturers in the mobile hunting game, 4 or 5 years ago. So that's how we kind of got our foot in the door. And it's been a wild ride ever since then. So I've been mobile hunting now. This will be like year 5 roughly. Started out with some lone wolf stuff and then got into saddle hunting, where I run a lot of your guys' stuff and then one sticking. And honestly, now I just kind of go out and I don't know. It seems like every hunt's a little bit different, try something different. But I haven't sat. I probably sat in like a preset stand maybe 5 or 6 times over the past 4 or 5 years. So
Yep.
I think I started mobile or saddle hunting at least the same time about you did, about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't kidding, dude. Like the change from 5 years ago to now, just the market alone, but like the quality of the items for people to buy has just exponentially increased, which I would assume the same thing for like your stuff too. Cause I met you in Ohio. Was it Ohio I met you
3
at?
years
3 years ago?
right?
3 years ago? Yeah. And I was like, man, this stuff's pretty sweet. But like the last stuff that I got from you, I'm like, good Lord, this looks like it's freaking manufactured, dude.
It's the technology advent too. I mean, your entire business rode on that, right? I mean, it's just like it hit, and then all of a sudden, it's like new technology. I mean, honestly, though, new saddle technology every single year keeps you guys on your feet too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's kind of the good thing about it is, with you guys, with like the main companies, you guys, the other big names up there, the more products you guys develop, the better people like Sam, Austin, and I do, because it gives us more, basically just kind of more fuel for our fire, and allows us to make, I always say like gizmos and gadgets,
Yeah. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Gizmos and I mean, that's how the whole thing, I'm curious, back then, like 3 years ago, man, the stuff you gave me, or I bought rather, actually was just amazing. I mean, it really changed my entire setup. And let me hit I remember calling a bunch of our ambassadors and you making some custom gear. Back then it was probably maybe a little different product setup, but could you just kind of really quickly summarize a lot of the different stuff you offer, maybe categorically, right? That's gonna be great for a mobile hunter.
Yeah. We started off our business with like public land gear hangers. So that's kind of what started us all. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe we were the first company to make a full like gear and bow hanger system, like a complete system. Like you could hodgepodge a bunch of different things together, 4 or 5 years ago, but we came up with like the first bow hanger system. And since then, we still sell one of our original systems, but we probably have I'd say like close to 10 different variations. And then we have a new variation that's going to be coming out here probably in like a week or so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting release. And then I think probably what we're most noted for is probably our tether locker or our tether keeper, however people, you know, that's something we kind of rushed in to get a patent. We've done some evolution with that product over the years. It started off as like a hard plastic product, and now it's evolved into like a rubber. And that's been an awesome seller. And I guess just to drop a little bit of a hint on that, we are going to be coming up with a new, it's not really a revision to it. It's going to be a new model of it. So we're going to be releasing that here probably, I'd guess like towards the beginning of September.
So it's probably, if you're listening to this, it's probably out right now because it's that might be my guess. So
pretty close.
What's it going to be called? Do you know? Or I'm sure you know.
We're still banging some names around. I'm thinking. So we went with the Ohm was our first one. This one's going to be the Omega. It's very similar. It's just a little bit bulkier, like a little bit bigger. Make it easier for guys to adjust with their fingers.
Nice.
And for like some bigger, like for carabiners and stuff, people were having some slip through issues. We don't really deal with it too much, but I've had to one off a couple of basically what we're going to be releasing. I've had to one off a couple of them just to kind of, satisfy the handful of customers that want it. So,
yeah,
I mean, I think that's like the coolest part, honestly different from us, right? Like bigger, like that production stuff, like you're able to just change stuff on a
roll.
I mean, really customize stuff. Like that's so cool. Just go wherever. I'm going to say basement. That might be wrong. It might be garage or wherever, or shop or where. I mean, it started off there. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. Just the gear hanger is that, I have 3 years ago, the Dew Claw.
The Dew Claw, yeah.
Is it still the Dew Claw? Is that what you originally started off with too?
It is, yeah. That was our first product. Was the Dew Claw, and we still offer that same setup. It looks a little bit different, but all in all, it's still the same product. We still offer that. We still move a decent bit of those. Our newest ones, we started to get into the straps. So we have like it's an interesting strap style. It's a little micro cam buckle with a metal J hook that's fitted, and how tight you can get those and how easy they are to operate. We move a lot more of those. We get those at lower volume in retail and stuff like storefront. So that's been a pretty good product for us as well.
Very nice. Very nice. And I know, so if you were going to recommend like someone coming to your website and looking to upgrade their system, let's say in particular, because we see a lot of this, they buy a complete kit, right? They got the pack, they got the doubles, they got the, platform and saddle. What do you recommend picking up that might drastically change the game for them from a saddle system, right? Going smooth, being quiet. Like what are the big ones?
Yeah. I think it would probably be our highest sellers. You're going to want to start off with some kind of gear hanger system. Of course, there's so many options on our site. There's a ton of options. And then probably our most versatile, like saddle aid, that's what we call them, is probably our paracord saddle aid. It allows you to you basically tie a piece of paracord to your stick, and then it snaps in there. And what it is it's a positive engagement. So like you actually have to use a little bit of force to get it on and off. So what's good about that is if you accidentally bump your stick, it's not going to fly off your saddle, so it gives you that kind of positive lock. If you're looking for more of a custom fit, we do offer, some more like 1-inch tubing style attachments, as well as we do make them for the double and the single steps as well. And then typically any of our platform hangers, so they're kind of called the same thing, platform saddle aids. We make them for the EDP, Mission, Onyx, and then obviously.
They're other companies as well too. It's not just limited
yeah.
to just Trophyline stuff. I mean,
Yeah. I think we have hangers for just about everything out there. There might be some onesie twosie ones that we don't have, but we ended up just making like universal type attachments where it's like, yeah, it's not that custom perfect fit, but it's going to work for just about anybody.
right.
That's awesome.
And you
Very
said
cool.
something earlier that I mean, like what accessorizing, I call it accessorizing, but what you offer and what all these other guys offer as well is just something to make your life, the listener's life, a little bit easier when you're either going into the woods, climbing in the tree, or hunting out of the tree. It's like one of those three things. You make something that will assist that person, or at least give somebody a better peace of mind.
It was night and day. I was doing those like night eyes, rubber twist ties, and like,
oh yeah,
they were awesome. Like, it was kind of best of both worlds. Like, it kind of held some rigidity, but then it took forever. Like, that's what I hated about it. And then I got those doubles, and I just remember like the fact that they didn't sway, like they were just locked in, and I was like that positive reinforcement off my hip, and they just were staying away from me, and like they weren't gonna bang metal, they weren't gonna. That was, I mean, I think I picked up 2 or 3 of them, and was just rubbing off either hip, and then I had to kind of start changing it up. I was hanging my wingman upside down, so I was plugging it in, but that weight was like a pendulum, so it would hop off. So, but you know, there's little things you can do, but man, that was a game changer for me, especially. I loved it.
Yeah. It's certainly interesting. I remember, I think back to like, 5 years ago when I started. So I had a XOP or a Lone Wolf Alpha, and then I was using 4 of the full length XOP sticks. So the only sticks you could buy were like XOP and then Lone Wolf. And at the time, I was like super cheap. So I was like, I'm buying the XOP sticks. You could pick them up like, I think I got them from Amazon maybe for like $130 for 4.
Were they the single steps too?
The single, yeah.
I had those same ones, dude. They
that is a per stick cost at this point in time. Now, 5 years later, 6 years later.
Man, if you got into like a fight, man, you could use that thing as a baseball bat. They were wild, and I used those, and those are really sketchy to climb with. I had a couple real nasty kickouts with the long. I think they were 32 or 36 inches long. I had a couple of cutouts and just sitting there hanging on a tree like 8 foot up, just no stick underneath you.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
I got, right before I got this job, we were kind of part of the Hawk Helium line. And like I was, they sent me some gear to, yeah, I won't go any further, but it was I was blessed.
Hey, I don't care what stick you have on the market. If you really wanted to try hard enough, you could make it kick out more than likely.
Well, I climbed a tree and actually a branch had fell and actually broke the standoff. And I was just going to climb it and it didn't have a standoff. So that was why it kicked out. It was horrible.
I think that's what's nice about the market now though. When I was doing that, I like modified a rock climbing harness.
Oh yeah.
And made like alignment. I didn't know how to sew or anything at the time, so I wasn't making any like custom sewn stuff like I would, like I would today. But I like bought like continuous loops of webbing that I made like a makeshift linesman belt, and then I had honestly, it's everybody that was doing it 5-6 years ago is super grateful that nothing bad happened, because it was so sketchy. There wasn't a lot of good gear out there, where like now there's so much good gear that can keep you safe, make your life easy. I mean, it's come so far. Now, if I do something I did 5 years ago today, I wouldn't do it. There's no way.
It was the Wild West back 5-6 years ago. And now you have a brand new technology, the next best thing every month. I mean, it is keeping, just as, in like yourself, you're in this game. It keeps everybody on their toes every single month. Like every 15, 30 days, it's something. It's exciting. I mean, this is no doubt the golden age of mobile and saddle hunting, especially, obviously. But
Yep.
it's wild what's coming out.
Yeah, and I think like what I've kind of focused my business towards now is just we've built up a good enough reputation now where I don't want to say we kind of coast, but we just everybody kind of knows how we operate. We make products, we drop products. We kind of have like a no frills type business. When you call, you talk to me 99% of the time, probably. But I think now what we're trying to do, like when I first started 4 years ago, I was always so nervous of like the next company coming and then like basically knocking you off, right? And then like you're like, oh, am I going to sink? But now it's like at a point now where we're confident as a business, and now we're just kind of like you said, it's the golden age right now. So everything's just like it's crazy good right now. It's been crazy good for everybody past 4 years, 5 years, whatever. Now we're just like, I'm starting to look ahead and just being like, okay, once all this dust settles in like 5 years, I just have to navigate my company to be one of those final 10, 15 companies.
Last man standing.
Right. Like I don't want to be
Yeah.
at the top of the mountain, right?
Sure.
I just be, hey, we're still here,
Yeah.
Well, inevitably, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's good, like what Austin and myself, it again being kind of we're kind of a byproduct to you guys, right? Like we are made off of what you guys create. Now, obviously, yeah, we make our own stuff and our own gear that sells good stuff, and it's not relying on another company making gear. But when you're talking about like, how do I put meat onto my website? Like, how do I make my website fatty so that I can keep a customer on there for, whatever, 10, 15 minutes instead of 30 seconds? Well, the more products that you guys develop, that's how I get the fat onto the website, and that's what ultimately, and it's
true.
Some stuff doesn't sell all that great, but there's a lot of people that stuff that doesn't sell great. The few people that do use it, they're the ones that actually message you and like, wow, I wouldn't think anybody would ever make a product like that, because it's kind of like a niche product, right? I don't move a lot of them, but the people that buy them are super thankful they're there. And they also, in turn, they end up promoting and helping you out, even
Awesome.
though
It's such a, like I mean, it is a product for that guy, because like, it's such a, they just spent a lot of cash on that saddle hunting kit or the new sticks or whatever, and then they pick something up that's dollars compared to that.
Fraction
I mean,
of the
really,
price. Yeah.
like not even a fraction. That 0.01, like, but it makes the big difference. And we talk about that being like, when it comes down to a hunt, especially mobile hunting, right? Coming down to that detail, I'll tell you what, and you were right next to us at the Mobile Hunter Expo. When you can show the whole system laid out and it clicks like that, that is the best seller. It's all of our products, but when you're able to show the whole system and how smooth it is and how fast it is compared to whatever they were using, right? Climber, Hang On, it makes all the difference. And I just think it's really cool. And one thing that's awesome to end on is the new thing you just came out with.
Oh,
we launched Hyperlight, we sold out, and then the next post I saw that was getting a lot of attention was what you came out with. It's really cool. I haven't got my hands on it yet because Nick still has my bag. He hasn't shipped it yet. So
I got to get kits and everything together for everyone. Because that was a fun little system. I got them in my hands, and I'm like, what can I do with these?
So I did mine different than what Nick was showing me. I put my stick at the top with this bungee cord system because I found it a little bit easier to just like drop that bungee cord in between the rope instead of trying to feed it around.
Yeah, no, that's nice. I like that a lot.
And the logo sticks out pretty nice right there too. And then I just haven't put this on my saddle yet, but then this is all it does, right? It just locks in right on the hip of your saddle. Yep. So I can carry all 4 sticks up on one side if I wanted to.
Yeah, if you wanted to, that would work.
Yeah.
What's it called, Kyle? So explain what's going on here. So for the listener.
Yeah. When you guys launched the Hyperlights, we developed 3 products, and we're probably going to have another one, which is going to be fairly basic product, more of like I don't want to say universal, but it'll kind of, in case nobody wants to buy like all the whole system, they can just buy these little things, slap them on their saddle, and it'll work fine. But what we created is basically 3 pieces. You have the Hyperlight hanger, which they work to fit and drop in almost a slight press fit. They're really kind of a drop in, but depending on the tolerances, into the recessed holes on the sticks. And the hangers basically have a positive lock. So you'll actually hear a little bit of a pop. And again, it's there to help you in case you bump it with your leg as you're climbing up. It doesn't drop your sticks. That pairs with that is the Hyperlight Molly cradle is what we called that. And basically what that is it's a receiver for the hanger. And then the last piece is the Hyperlight bungee system. So they're all labeled that. They're all on our website in the climbing stick accessories tab as well. You could just look at shop all and you'll find them in there too. But yeah, the system, it for me made the sticks, I mean, out of the box, they're great, right? But again, it's just like any stick on the market. Even the ones that make the, like I see a couple companies make like little features that basically you can hang them from your saddle. They've come up short, right? And I get it, right? They have to do it budget, it's got to be budget friendly. So it's just helped basically make those sticks, easier to hang, easier to hunt, easier to climb with mainly. And as well keep the aesthetics appealing. It doesn't just look a piece of junk hanging off the front of the stick.
No, I think that you, as well as the other guys that are in this business, aren't really like, you said something earlier that kind of like put yourself down to a degree. I think you guys are a necessity to all of us. Like we're a team. We're a team as it kind of breaks out to be, like we should be anyways as hunters. We're all on one team, but even in the market itself too, we need to be. And, and you definitely are.
These guys, like every single one of these guys that we're having on the call, like among the first to get sticks. So, like, hey, we got to get some other products flowing here that's going to make this really nice. Think outside the box. We're too close to it all the time. That's what we always say. We're way too close to it.
We are.
And it's cool to see someone outside the box think of something wild or just that much more helpful. So I'm excited to get my hands on them.
Innovating the outdoors, I mean, that's what
exactly. It was right there. It was a low piece of fruit. I didn't grab it, so thank you. Now, I guess the final piece. What's your number one? Okay, what's your number one saddle tip or mobile hunting tip out there from a gear standpoint that you love saying to shows? Guys got coming up. They're looking at all your products and they're trying to figure out if they're wanting to jump into this thing or not. This is ending a 3-part series that we're diving into it. So what's your number one tip if you can think of one?
Yeah. I think I've kind of preached this with just anybody that really asks and wants, an opinion from me is develop a system that works for you and become efficient with it. For some people it's minimal, minimal stuff. Other people, they like having the creature comforts, but develop a system to where one, you're efficient. So you're able to get in close. You're able to be quiet. That's probably the biggest thing. And get you up the tree safely. That's always been, what I've preached, just because again, some of the stuff we did 5-6 years ago, man, today it's like, made a video of that today and posted it on one of the channels.
They're still on Robert's channel.
Oh, hey. I did the math on that. We're okay.
Rightfully so, but people would just smear you because they have every right to, because there are people that are going to watch that and be like, oh, I seen that guy doing it. And I think that's the biggest tip. When I did shows 2-3 years ago, that's what I would always tell people is, the stuff that I sell is just kind of the items that are going to assist you in becoming efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, you have to kind of practice with all this, develop a system, and just rinse and repeat, and refine it as you go. I think that's one thing that I've gotten stuck in a couple times is afraid to change and maybe upgrade gear, right? Like I'm like, yeah, I know, I understand that, that stick might be a half a pound lighter, but my system's just great, right?
Mm-hmm. Confidence is important.
Yeah, what I found is like, I'll take the plunge and I'll buy some new gear, and then I'm like, okay, it typically most of the time it's been worth it. There has been some times where I go against my conscience. I'm like, and I bought stuff a couple times, right? And I'm like trying to get it to work, right? I'm like, it's great, but yeah, I think that's the biggest tip I would give people is just find a system, become efficient with it, and constantly think of refining it.
Mm-hmm.
There's
like
always, there really is. There's always refinement. I mean, there's so many facets of a good system out there. There's so many different upgrades that you probably could do. But again, like the simplest thing that you might not be thinking of that's sitting in an event, or you can walk around and it might be $10, it might be $20, it might be $30.
Yeah.
That is going to be the key to something that's, smooth and slow and smooth, but smooth fast, like very quiet, and that is the big difference maker. And I think like you cannot take advantage of the full, you can't take a full advantage of mobile hunting and saddle hunting without products like yours. You can't.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I really do.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad you got you on here, and I'm might not be the last time you're on here. I bet not.
Yeah. You guys know, anytime.
We need to get you in a deer camp with us. That'd be a fun time. And Nick, all four of us together. That'd be a riot.
It's coming. It's coming soon. You guys are always trying to get together. So actually, I just called Nick the other day. It was this week, talking about a PA potential camp. We had some things lining up. So
PA is great, man. You go to the northern woods and it's awesome up there. It really is. You can hunt for miles, and everybody says there's a lot of pressure in PA, but when you get up north, I mean, there might be a lot of people, but there's a lot of land.
It's like exactly like here in Michigan, dude. Like the further north you go, the less people you run into. The deer might not be as thick, but there's still quality deer around.
Yep.
And I'm from Indiana. I've not had those states on my target at all. So, but not saying it's not, because I'd love to go out there and experience it. Just, hearing everybody talk about it, especially the culture side. I don't have that culture that you guys have. So we'll
culture you. We'll culture you.
Yeah, I'm uncultured. Well, thank you, Kyle. We appreciate it. We'll see you again. And thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Kyle.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed those guests. That does it for this maybe final. We might do one more video in this series for beginning saddle hunters. We might jump back into it. Might start getting into some hunting stuff. For the most part, we're going to leave this podcast back into some in-season updates, some hunting content. But again, we might jump into it with some more guests and some thoughts on maybe strategies or hunting, or maybe something that we forgot on this series. But hope you like this saddle hunting for beginners. And thanks as always for listening to Mobile Venatic podcast. Write in if you guys want us to talk about something or cover something. Write in, give us some questions. Be happy to help.
Yeah. Hope you learned something.